guys, today I am back to do my April favorites. Yet again, it does not feel like there's a lot, but there kind of is. It's definitely all makeup favorites this month. I feel like I've been wearing the same makeup look the majority of the month. So there were a couple products that I switched it up with this month that were my favorites, and I think a lot of that just because I was kind of switching it up. And then some of these were something that I've just been wearing all month long. So I'm going to go ahead and start with face products. And the first one is my IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Cream. This is the full-size one in the shade Fair. I also had a little mini one in the shade Light. And I would actually mix those two together. Fair is probably my more correct shade, but I was trying to finish up the one in Light, so I would mix them together, and that made it a little bit easier to wear the light shade. But the reason I love this so much is kind of a weird reason. First thing is CC and BB creams to me are very easy. I usually just squirt some in my hand and blend it in with my fingers and be done. You can use a brush, you can use a beauty blender, you can use whatever you want. I just find that my fingers kind of tends to be nice and easy, especially because these are essentially, to be honest, kind of tinted moisturizers. This one has a little bit more coverage than I would say most CC and BB creams do, and I don't see the claims on here, but I know that it does claim to be a full coverage foundation. It also claims to be a primer, a pore filler, moisturizer, like a ton of things. And I really do like this, but the main reason that I liked it the most, and the weird reason, is that I have big pores, I have oily skin, so this does not sound like it would be a good product for me because it's super moisturizing. It's got kind of a little bit more of a dewy, luminous finish to it, but I just noticed that when my skin is super hydrated, my skin looks so much better. My pores are less noticeable. I feel like my skin actually looks less oily. It's kind of strange. I know some of that is because, your skin is oily because it's dry, so this has been helping with that. But I also feel like when my skin is really hydrated, my skin is kind of more plump looking. And somehow when it's a little bit more plump, it makes the pores less noticeable, and I just feel like my skin overall looked so much better with this. My only complaint about this is that some setting powders, for example, I used the Rimmel Stay Matte a lot with this month. I feel like at times it didn't stay 100% in places, and that sometimes it was a little bit cakey looking, and it was probably mostly because of the Rimmel Stay Matte. But this is a really nice product, and I was really reluctant to love this, but I have fallen in love with this. And I think this is probably going to be a really nice product for summertime. I know I really love mine in the wintertime when it gets very dry, but this is kind of one of those nice products that in the summertime you can just throw it on. You've got your SPF, you've got moisturizer, and you actually have a little bit of coverage too. So that I have just been raving about all month and love it. Next is a product that everybody and their mom and their grandma and their great grandma has talked about this month. But it is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. Everybody has been talking about this and how great it is, and they're totally right. It is just as great and amazing as they've all pretty much said. The reason that I love it the most is that I am so super fair, pale, whatever you want to call it. And this is probably one of the only concealers I have found that actually is somewhat brightening and pretty close to my skin tone, but it's a little bit brightening for me. And I really, really like it for that reason. Just because, again, being so fair, it's kind of hard to find concealers that are lighter than your skin. Sometimes you have to use like a white setting powder on top of it to kind of help lighten it up a little bit. Or, I'm drawing a blank right now, but I know someone mixes their concealers with the NYX Lavender Concealer and it kind of helps brighten it up a little bit. So if I don't have to mix anything, use a special setting powder, and I can just use this, I'm all for that because it just makes life a little bit easier. But another great thing about this concealer is since it's part of the Naked Skin line, it feels like nothing. It feels super lightweight. It doesn't even feel like it's there, which I like because especially if you go into like Ulta, Sephora, or whatever, and you're playing with concealers, a lot of them are very thick. There are a couple thin ones, and I know if they're thinner, then sometimes it seems like they're not as great coverage-wise, but this is just as great coverage-wise as it is like being weightless and not feeling like it's there. It's also not cakey or anything like that, so I really do like that as well. Just a couple little things. It says it's light diffusing, peptide infused, and paraben free. So I know that's kind of all big pluses for everybody as well. I actually really agree with the light diffusing part. I feel like with any light that hits my under eyes, it just looks really nice. So I've been in love with this. I've been trying to get everybody to buy it because I just cannot get over how much I love it. And by the way, I'm in the shade Fair Neutral. Their shade selection for those is okay. I think they could increase the shade range just a little bit and that would help a little bit more. But overall, I have to say it's pretty good. So next, there wasn't really any blushes, highlighters, anything like that this month that super wowed me. But I have been wearing my Too Faced Endless Summer Bronzer basically 8 times out of 10 this whole month. Like if I had foundation on or makeup on at all, really, 8 times out of 10 I had this on too. And I've just loved this because after winter I have felt kind of even more pale and dead looking than normal, and it's so nice to have a little bit of glow and feel like I look like I'm alive. So the bronzer has just really saved me this month, and Too Faced, I'm actually just really in love with their bronzers this month in general. Been recommending them a lot at work and stuff to people. So that's kind of what mine looks like. The Endless Summer one does have a little bit of shimmer. I'll kind of try to show that. But it's really hard to catch. And I feel like shimmer doesn't show up too much on your face either. But I know the milk chocolate, and I think there's like now a dark chocolate one. Those bronzers are probably the best selling ones from Too Faced. But the Endless Summer one is actually really nice too. So I've just enjoyed Too Faced bronzer this month. I've enjoyed looking a little bit more glowy and healthy looking, so I have loved that. This product that I'm about to talk about is something that I've said probably a few times before I don't like, but I recommend it because people want a nice, more natural mascara, I guess. But a lot of people will come in and they'll ask for like a hypoallergenic mascara, a more natural mascara. And I usually recommend Tarte because they're formulated without like parabens and a lot of that kind of stuff, and especially like for people looking for hypoallergenic. Tarte is hypoallergenic, and I know Almay is. There aren't too many other lines that I know of that are hypoallergenic, but Tarte is for sure. And the last time I tried this mascara, I did not like it. And I don't know what kind of changed, but I decided to go ahead and use this the last 2 weeks of the month, and I've really kind of grown to like it. I wouldn't say love it. I'm not to the point that I think I would repurchase this, but I really like it enough that I would consider purchasing the waterproof version because it just makes your lashes look very natural and defined. It adds a little bit of length and it adds some volume. So that's kind of the thing that I like about it, is it's very natural looking. A lot of times with my mascaras, I'm trying to get, you know, as much volume as possible, as much length as possible. I want it to be dramatic and I want it to be black, and I just, you know, I want a lot from my mascara. So every once in a while it is nice to step back and just kind of do something more natural looking. And I actually really like this mascara for that, and I think that, you know, if you're swimming or you're at some event where you'd need a waterproof one, this would probably be a really good one to go with. I know I've had a lot of problem with drugstore waterproof mascaras lately, just not being waterproof essentially, and I feel like Tarte would probably be a little bit better about theirs being waterproof. So I have just the regular one. Mine is not waterproof, but I've sold the waterproof one a few times and had quite a few people say that they really like it, and I think that's what I'm gonna buy next is for my waterproof mascara is the Tarte one. I'm probably not gonna buy the regular one, probably gonna try the waterproof one. So next is my Anastasia Dip Brow. It has been really hard for me to not use this month. I was trying to finish up my NYX Micro Brow Pencil because I was trying to finish up my brunette brow products, because you can kind of see my roots are coming in, and I am a darker blonde color, and it's, you know, I don't know. I get tired of filling in my eyebrows all the time, and I don't know. I just wanted to go back to lighter hair, so I told myself that if I wanted to do that, I needed to finish up some of my brunette brow products because I didn't want to keep them sitting around until I decided to go back to dark hair, which will probably be in the fall because that's basically what always happens. But my brows have not been waxed for a month or two, and that's really, really sad, but I just haven't had time, and then if I do have time, I don't feel like doing it. I'm just, every reason possible, I've been avoiding it. And I have an upcoming event, so they're definitely going to get done before that, but because they've been unwaxed, they've just been unruly and kind of unmanageable. I feel like even my Anastasia brow gel just isn't really holding the hairs in place properly. And this is the one thing that I just feel like has made them so much more manageable. They just look so much better, I feel like, when I use my dip brow versus when I use my pencil. Today I do have the NYX Micro Brow Pencil because today was like my last day of using it. But I've used this so much more this month. And that's kind of the other thing, is I've used this a ton and I am nowhere near hitting bottom or using it up. I'm completely amazed when people show me theirs and they have a dip and they're already touching the, they've already hit like pan or the bottom. It just blows my mind because I've used this so many times and I can't even imagine what it's like to hit the bottom because I've just used it so many times. But I had to talk about that because since my brows have just been so unruly and unwaxed and really bad looking, like if you took a close-up picture of my brows, they would look horrendous probably. But at least from a little bit of a distance, they don't look bad, and a lot of that's been this dip brow. So I'm obsessed with that. Sorry, I had to check the time. Next is mostly lip products. There are 2 eyeliners and then some eyeshadows. So for lip products, I think I kind of kept my weekly makeup bags a little bit the same. There were a couple of the same lip products in there, and 2 of them I'm going to talk about. The first one is Too Faced Melted Lipstick in Melted Strawberry. This is the perfect summer red lipstick in my opinion. It's not a blue toned red. I also don't really want to say, I guess it's kind of a warmer toned red, but it's, I don't know, it's gorgeous. And that is what it looks like. It just somehow is the perfect kind of, it's a little bit pink almost, I guess. And I just dropped it. But it's a really pretty red color for summer and spring. I got a ton of compliments on it when I wore it to work a couple times, and I just really like this formula. I do kind of like that the applicator is the way it is. It makes it really easy to apply. It's surprisingly pretty easy to get, what's the word I want? Just kind of defined lines, I guess. It's able to get really precise. That's the word I wanted, precise. You're actually able to get really precise with this. And if you aren't or need, mess up, you can always take a lip brush and kind of clean it up a little bit because you can kind of squeeze the product out so that it, see if I can get mine to do it. Mine I think are a little bit clogged. You might be able to see it, but you can kind of get a bead of product, so you can always apply it with a lip brush and get a little bit more precise if you need to. But the applicator is really soft, and I feel like, I don't know, it's nice to have a lipstick that I can keep in my car or in my bag and I don't have to worry about it like melting. Because, typical lipstick, for like this one for example, this is Divine Wine from Maybelline. If I leave this in the car, it's going to melt and it's going to be a mess and it's going to be gross. This I leave in the car, not really a big issue, but the color itself too, like I said, it has just been gorgeous for spring and summer. So I've been pretty much just obsessed with everything about this, the formula, the applicator, everything. So I have loved that color this month. The other lipstick that I've been in love with, I love this because it's easy. It's just perfect for kind of when I don't know what to do. But it's the Maybelline Rebel Bloom Collection in Blushing Bud. I've talked about this a couple times, but it's a kind of mauve-y pink color. It's got some product on here from something else because I kind of mixed it with another lip color, but it's just really, really pretty. It's not your typical light pink nude color. It's deeper than that, but it just pairs so nicely with every makeup look I've pretty much tried it with. There was only one that I tried it with that I wasn't a huge fan of it, and it just was because it made it look kind of dirty looking. It kind of brought the mauve a little bit in it too much. So that has been a favorite just because I've worn it with pretty much every eyeshadow look I can think of, and I am obsessed with it. So that is Blushing Bud. And the Maybelline formula is actually really nice too. It's, as you can see, kind of creamy. They're really pigmented. Are they the most pigmented lipstick you're ever going to use? No, but I mean, that's one swipe of it down there. So, pretty good. But that is a good favorite. Last for lip products, this is what I have on now. It's in my project pan. It's the NYX Butter Lipstick in Fun Size. Why I've loved this so much this month, I don't really know. There are other months I've used this and I've not liked this lipstick at all. I've hated it. It's settled into my lip lines. But this month, my lips are not that chapped. They've been trying to keep them pretty well hydrated, and maybe that's kind of why it's worked for me better. But it's just such a nice peachy nude color for summer. So I've really grown to love this. The formula is kind of nice because it is a little bit more hydrating. I don't know. I've just really grown to like this. That is it there. I don't know if I'd repurchase it because I am using this up for Project Pan, but I'm kind of thinking about it. So it is a nice peachy nude color. I actually might miss it when it's gone, so that's why I'm like I might repurchase it. But formula is creamy. It's pretty long lasting for me. I work a lot of 8-hour shifts and stuff, and I feel like it stays for most of that. Maybe like halfway through I'll reapply, or like 3 hours till the end of my shift I'll reapply. But they stay nice and creamy. They have a little bit of a sheen to them. So I have actually really liked that. And then 2 eyeliners I've loved this month. This is the Mally Evercolor Straight Waterproof Liner, and this is in Mally's Glow. This I've loved because since I've been wearing Fun Size a lot, I've been wearing a lot of gold, bronzy looks, or even kind of more peachy stuff. And I just feel like this eyeliner pairs so well with all of that. But it's just such a nice, like, deep, bronzy eyeliner. I mean, it's nice because it looks like a typical dark brown eyeliner, but when you pair it with like gold or more bronzy shadows, it really brings out the glow in it. So that is it there. It's got a little bit of sparkle to it. I'll try to get closer here and see if I can, you can kind of see it a little bit. It's really, really pretty. So I like it because, like I said, you can wear it as like a typical dark brown eyeliner, or if you wear it with like gold or more bronzy shadows, it has a little bit of this glow to it. Just very, very pretty. They're also very long lasting. The only thing I haven't really done with this particular shade is worn it on my waterline. I might have once, but I didn't really check in with it throughout the day. I kind of wanted to test how well they do on the waterline, but mostly just been wearing it along my like upper lash line, and then I've been wearing the Toasted Sugar one on my waterline, which is pretty close to skin tone color, so that one I can't really tell if it's still there or not. It just adds a little bit of shimmer. So that one I'm not super happy with, but the Mally's Glow one is great. This month I've noticed a lot of people were doing MAC hauls, and when they were doing them, they were talking about, I think it's called a Royal Wink eyeliner, the Fluid line. So it's like a gel liner, and it's a bright blue. So instead of buying it, I decided to go ahead and pull out my Revlon Colorstay Skinny Liquid Liner. This is an electric blue. I've worn this 2 or 3 times, and I can't get over it. I love this so much. It's so freaking pretty. It's just such a bright blue, and I paired it with basically all shadows from my Naked Basics palette. I had the lightest shade in the palette. Let me just see here. I paired it with Skimp and then a little bit of Frisk. So I did Skimp on the lid, and then I did Frisk, right there. Just kind of in my crease and outer V a little bit. I build it up a little bit more in the outer V just to get a little bit more depth and dimension from it. But that is what it looks like there. It's just very, very bright. And it's, again, a really pretty kind of pop for spring and summer. So, and it's pretty long wearing. The only thing is, I know a lot of people were complaining about this with the Urban Decay liners. They're liquid liners. If you rub them, it'll kind of ball up and come off. This will kind of do that. Towards the end of the day, it'll start to ball up and rub off. So it lasts for an 8-hour shift for me fine. As long as you're not touching your eyes and messing with it, it lasts. But as soon as you start messing with it, it starts to go. So that, though, I've loved for the color. It's just so beautiful. And then lastly, my last favorite is my Urban Decay Naked palette. This is such a weird thing because it's in my Pan That palette, but I have just really enjoyed mixing shadows from this lately. And one of my favorite combinations has been Half Baked, which is the more gold color. And I've been mixing it with, down here, Sin. This is like a pinky champagne color. And when I mix those two together, you get a very similar shade to Rose or Rosé from the Lorac Pro 2 palette. It's not, you know, so bright and in your face. It's a little bit more toned down. It's just, it's really, really pretty. And that's kind of why I still have like Sin, because I was going to try to finish Sin this month for my Pan That palette update. And I've just kept it around because I have enjoyed mixing it with Half Baked so much that I've been actually kind of trying to not use it. Because Half Baked has a long ways to go and Sin obviously is, you know, almost gone. So there are other light champagne-y colors in my collection I could probably mix it with, but I just feel like these two just mix so well together and they're so beautiful. It's just been one of my favorite kind of go-to looks is to do Half Baked and then layer Sin on top of it, and then I take a little bit of Smog and I'll kind of put that on the outer edge, and then I usually do a little bit of Dark Horse and Buck kind of blended into my crease, and then Dark Horse is concentrated more on the outer V. But that has just been like my absolute go-to look this month. It's basically been that, and then I wear Fun Size on my lips, my Too Faced bronzer, and then kind of a peachy corally blush, and that has just been my go-to look pretty much the entire month. So that is it for my April favorites. Like I said, it felt like a lot, but I think that's just because I'm kind of talking about stuff a lot. Otherwise, realistically, there ain't that much stuff. But thank you guys for watching. I'm going to try to stay consistent with my videos, but I do have a lot of stuff going on at the moment. A lot of it is just that I'm working a ton right now, so I talk about that just a smidge bit more in my April empties. So alright, I will see you guys next time, and thank you for watching. Bye!